Now, the NFL introduced its strict and conservative uniform code way back in the 50s, but now recently the NFL has allowed players to wear custom cleats in warm-ups, but still have strict rules to what cleats the players can wear in the game. The NFL changed the rule in 2017 to give players more ways to express themselves through what they wear within reason. Players could wear customized cleats in any colors that they wanted as long as the designs were not political or offensive in any way. But that was the only rule for warm-ups. Once the actual game started, it was back to the same colors that the rest of the teammates were wearing. This is yet another sign that the NBA players have set a new standard for showing off their individuality on the court. But in the NFL and other men's professional leagues, they try to maintain and embrace the word uniformity. In a phone interview, Brian McCarthy, who is the NFL spokesman, explains the thinking behind the policy, quoted that the NFL represents the highest level of sports. He said NFL players are required to reflect that high level of professionalism in everything that they do on a game day, and that applies to the uniform itself, that literally goes from head to toe. The dress code is enforced by 2 representatives, one stationed on each side of the line. During the games, those representatives are often former players. Now let's take a look at a few of the cleats that are banned from the league and some of the fines that came along with it. I guarantee you won't believe it. But before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video as it helps the channel out tremendously. Okay, so we all know the Cleveland Browns had a disappointing season in 2019. Expectations were high for the Browns, and the big reason why was the reuniting of OBJ and Jarvis Landry. The duo was college teammates and best friends at LSU, and immediately burst into the scene in the NFL. When Beckham was traded to the Browns, it was expected for the Browns to explode, but Odell Beckham has actually been kind of quiet this season. In a Week 10 matchup against the Broncos, Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry both wore cleats that did not follow league requirements. Odell's cleats particularly stood out as he wore a pair of Joker-themed cleats following the release of the popular movie. Now, what made this particular incident funny is that the two were not just fined by the NFL, they were told at halftime that they wouldn't be able to continue to play if they didn't change their cleats. Now, while that being unusual, the NFL rulebook states players could be held out of a game if a violation to the uniform code is discovered at any time. Now, Beckham and Landry both did change their cleats, and they did come back out in the second half, but they took a high level of criticism, saying that the cleats were very unnecessary, especially because the Browns were struggling. Now, even with Odell Beckham Jr.'s fine for his Joker cleats, it actually was not the first time that he was in the media for this type of thing. He's actually had multiple violations over the course of his career, but one that no one will knock him for is the apparel that he chose for a 2016 game against the Detroit Lions, where he wore a pair of outlandish cleats. But it actually was to honor the late great Craig Sager, who had just passed away from leukemia. Sager was a TNT reporter famous for his bright and colorful outfits that he would wear on the sideline, and Beckham cleats mimicked Sager's style, and they were intended to raise money for the Sager Strong Foundation, which funds clinical research for leukemia and other blood cancers. But the NFL still gave Odell Beckham Jr. a fine worth $18,000 for wearing the cleats. Now, Odell Beckham is usually the target for public criticism